Welcome, Glen.
Now I'm the type of person that usually has about 1 million random thoughts running through his head at any given moment. And I often found it difficult sometimes to have conversations with people because I would start talking on a topic and then end up going from tangent to tangent and running around in circle and circle and circle and never actually getting to the point. You know, eventually maybe I would get to the point after about maybe 15 minutes of rambling on, but you know how it is, sometimes you just kind of like got 1 million thoughts, you're like, oh yeah, and then this way, and then it went that way, oh yeah, and then she said this, and then the person you're talking to is kind of like lost 5 minutes ago. Anyhow, that was all before I joined Toastmasters. So I'm president, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. I'd like to share with you this evening just exactly what Toastmasters has done for me. Now, have you all been in a situation where you felt like you had something that you wanted to say, but you just didn't know how to say it? Hands up if you've ever been there. Anybody? All right. So Toastmasters basically gives you a handful of tools, essentially, to help you overcome that fear of public speaking. Let's get one thing straight right now. I've never been afraid of public speaking. I have no problem at all getting in front of people and talking. And in fact, if you talk to anybody that I went to grade school with, they'll probably recall memories of me singing, I'm walking on air. I used to sing that song with my favorite song. Anyhow, getting back to Toastmasters. Toastmasters gives you a handful of essentials to help you overcome that fear of public speaking. Well, it gave me 3 things that I want to share with you this evening and what Toastmasters has done for me. Number 1, Toastmasters taught me how to listen. The art of listening. I'm going to share a little story with you. I went and saw Bill Clinton speak at Caesars Windsor back in 2010. He was amazing. And I'll be honest, I was using my Toastmasters training, just kind of listening to see how his presentation is going to be and how his delivery is going to be. And I have to tell you, he is one polished, very public speaker. He was amazing. There was no ahs, ems, ends, or repetitive words in his whole delivery. He was just very smooth. He was slick-willy, up on the stage behind the lectern, delivered very professionally, and he sounded great. And it was just a great, great, great guy to listen to. I remember thinking to myself, wow, imagine that. Bill Clinton speaking in Windsor. How weird is that? And I remember talking to the organizer who got Bill Clinton down into Windsor, and he said the same thing. How sad is it? How sad is it that we as Windsorites don't look at ourselves as being deserving of having somebody like Bill Clinton come and speak to us, or maybe having somebody like Bono, or maybe Sean Penn come out and speak to us Windsorites. And I remember Clinton talking about how resourceful we were. We had such brilliant mechanical engineers and such brilliant resources in this area from the auto sector. So it's not like Windsor has a resource problem. Windsor more or less has a self-attitude problem. They look at themselves and they don't believe themselves worthy of that. So that's what led me to develop my show entitled Profiles of Life, where I basically wanted to take people and I wanted to highlight them, and I wanted to show what they were doing in the community, regardless of what the economy was doing, regardless of whether Eddie Francis was running for mayor again, and regardless of whether Stephen Harper and the Conservatives were in power. So ultimately, and it's going to shock some of you, none of that matters. You're all in charge of your life. And when I talk to these people on my show, I'm talking about the organizers who organized Dancing with the Local Stars. They were told endlessly that it would never happen. It's too big of a production, it'll never happen. You'll never get people that dedicate 6 months of their lives to it. We had 1,200 people come to the opening of that show. For a show that never was going to happen, 1,200 people is a really good number. And then I also spoke with the organizer who did bring Bill Clinton into Windsor. And when he told everybody that Clinton was coming to Windsor, the reactions were just like, really? Why would Bill Clinton spend time in Windsor? So I wanted to highlight these people. I wanted to show you that you can do things in Windsor. And the art of listening comes in so handy when I'm interviewing people. Because I'm not just sitting there reading a question, and then reading the next question. No, you can ask Tina pretty much. I ask questions and I listen very intently to what they're saying to me. And I have an engaging conversation with the person. Try to bring them out of their shell. Have them talk about what's important, what's very important to them. So the art of listening, I think, is very important to master because there's a huge difference between listening to somebody and being heard, right? So Number 2, the art of improvisation. Toastmasters, as they say, learn how to speak off the cuff. Are there Toastmasters in here? Hands up.
Yes.
Have you all participated in table topics? Did it scare you silly? I'll tell you this, it is great training. It's great training for that moment when you don't know what's going to happen and you have to act quickly and react on your feet. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I was hired to DJ and MC a wedding for a friend of mine back in July. And everything was going great. Dinner was phenomenal, the weather was really nice. And then the caterer ran out of food. True story. True story. Needless to say, the bride was in hysterics, almost having a breakdown, because it was going to ruin the whole night. That's where my Toastmasters training came into play, and the art of improvisation. Now I'm going to give you a little background here. To have the bride and groom kiss, they have brought out a box of Trivial Pursuit cards. So basically, if you want to see them kiss, you had to come up, you had to answer a question that I asked you, and then if you got it right, the bride and groom would kiss. So I had this whole box of Trivial Pursuit questions. So I looked at the bride, I said, relax, grab a seat, we're going to have some fun. I hold the microphone, and I proceeded to play Trivial Pursuit with the entire wedding reception for 45 minutes while they went and grabbed more food for everybody to enjoy their evening. The night went off without a hitch. Nobody noticed. We all had a great time. And the bride, to this day, tells me that I saved her wedding. That's all coming from Toastmasters. The art of improvising, thinking fast on your feet, and making the most of what you have when you have it. Number 3, and this is the one that has been the most beneficial to me, and I think the one that has benefited me the most, both in my personal life and in my professional career. Toastmasters taught me how to focus. As Toastmasters in here, you all realize when you have a speech that you have to perform and you're in an allotted time frame of 5 to 7 minutes, I often found myself late at night editing a page and a half worth of material that I had written down. And it really taught me, okay, do I need to say that? Oh, that's being repetitive. Do I really need to go there? No, not really. It taught me how to edit myself, how to trim the fat, so they say. Stay on point, get to the point. Because when you only have 5 or 7 minutes, you gotta make it count. You gotta make it count, you gotta draw people's attention in, and you gotta make them aware of where you're going at all times with your speech. Now I believe we all have a voice, and I believe as well that we all have an opinion. And it's my firm belief that we have the right to use that voice and to express those opinions to be heard. So Toastmasters has given me 3 things. It's given me the listening skills, the art to improvise, as well as focusing. And focusing and trimming the fat. I was involved in a very serious car accident 4 years ago that nearly cost me my life. I slid out onto black ice and got hit by a semi-truck and nearly died. I had 12 broken ribs, spinal fractures, a collapsed lung, massive brain injury, blood flowing freely through my brain. They didn't think I was going to make it through the evening. I survived, miraculously. It took me 5 months to learn how to walk properly again. And in that time, you think about a lot of things. And you start to think about who's really beneficial and who matters in your life, and who's not so much. And I think I drew subconsciously on my Toastmasters training about trimming that fat. Because I'm a very positive person. I'm a very, go out there, do things type of person. I don't accept things as they are. I question everything. And I wanted to surround myself with people that were the same way, that never accepted the status quo. For those of you that were negative or just wanted to sit around and complain or just didn't want to do anything, and I know this is going to sound really selfish, I really didn't want to have anything to do with it. And for me, I think being part of Toastmasters was so beneficial because, this is going to sound great, being part of Toastmasters, you are surrounded with people like that. People that want to evolve, people that want to change, people that want to get better, people that want to find that voice and use it. It's so important. Did anybody see the King's Speech? Hands up. Okay, I gotta see more hands than that next time I come to you guys. It is a fantastic movie. And if you're here tonight, considering joining Toastmasters, you have to see the King's Speech. Am I right? Am I right, Lisa? Yes. The King's Speech. There's a beautiful scene in that movie where Geoffrey Rush's character is sitting in King Edward's chair. And King George, played by Colin Firth, tells him to get up off the chair. He's the one that has the stammering problem. And Geoffrey Rush says, well, why? And King George says, well, because I have the right to be heard. And Geoffrey Rush says, well, you have the right to be heard, but why should I listen to you? To the point where it enrages King George, where he says, because I have a voice. I have a voice. And so do you. And so do you, Melanie. Dawn, so do you. Joanne, you have a voice as well. But you, Jacob. And I firmly believe that it is your right to develop that voice, to use that voice to express your thoughts and your opinions. And in joining Toastmasters, it will help you to do that. It will. It will help you to focus your thoughts and deliver and say what needs to be said. So I'm going to leave you on one thought. I want to thank you very much for having me here this evening. I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm going to leave you with one question. We all have a voice. What are you going to do with yours?